A Life Calling Guide. Chapter 1. Life Calling Guide. Life Calling 1. The happiness of men consists in life. And life is in labor. Leo Tolstoy. By working faithfully 8 hours a day you may eventually get to be a boss and work 12 hours a day. Robert Frost. We are being spoon-fed our lives and most of us fall for it. The Freedom Patriot. Ask yourself the question, what can I do to help the world with what I got inside of me? Don't include any entertainment, sports, or fashion careers on your list because most are pipe dreams of vain people, and besides, these are frivolous careers. It's not like you're helping the world. It's more like you're a part of the massive brainwashing sales machine trying to sell useless stuff people don't really need. Refer to my self-employment, money, and business books for more leads about the real world. For now, if you want to read a piece about your divine spiritual mission in life, here's a section from my book A Free Spirit's Search for Enlightenment. Life for enlightened, free people is a constant release of their natural spirits. Everything else is dull or meaningless to someone like me. I was born with a certain blueprint for my life imprinted on my soul. That's who I am, and I'll be damned if I follow the brainwash of the world over being true to myself. A free spirit lives by his or her spirit. They do what they feel from within as purely as possible. We know we have to earn a living out in the world, but our idea of success in life is doing what you want, not following some standard out there like how much money you have beyond what you need or how much of a big shot you think you are somewhere. An original is a person interested in their own lives as individuals enough to question the way of life they're brought up to believe in so that they can discover who they really are away from cultural indoctrination, pop culture entertainment, and the ideology of consumerism. How many people discover who they are in their pure souls, then go off trying to be who they were really born to be away from what they were brainwashed by? How many people discover that inspiration and aesthetics are the keys to life and ride them both to stay feeling good to great most of the time for the rest of their lives? Wherever you go in the world, people are watching the same TV shows, listening to the same pop songs, reading the same frivolous magazines, wearing the same so-called fashions. There's almost nobody left trying to live an original, inspired life for themselves. The problem for most people in modern, Western society is simple. They don't follow who they really are the way they were born. They get brainwashed and seduced by the things outside of themselves so much that they lose their connections to their true natures. But the thing is that most people don't know and don't care. They'd rather live a generic life following the system's plan to make them into generic working stiff consumer clones than to try to make an effort to discover what this gift of life means to them as original individuals. This is why a lot of us are hollow people. We base our worth on standards outside of ourselves rather than trying to be exactly who we were born to be, the way we feel in our souls. Everything is potential brainwash except for what you alone think and create. I don't even believe in religion anymore. I had a hearty Catholic upbringing and held on hoping that it was true right up until I was about 25, but the further I went, the more I studied life, the more I realized that all mythologies serve the same basic functions in every society. Then I read historical accounts of Jesus and comparisons of a number of man-gods in different mythologies, and it all became clear to me. Our man-god Jesus is no different than Apollo, son of Zeus. One man's dream made all of Europe Christian, which is why most of us are Christian today. Around 400 AD, Constantine, the Roman emperor, had a dream of a cross which he took to be a prophetic vision, so he made the Roman Empire Christian. We could just as easily have been Druids except for that dream that made us a bunch of Jesus freaks. I don't believe there's a Christian God with son Jesus and his band of merry disciples as I was taught to believe in it. There could be some supernatural God force out there that we merge into when we die, but I won't waste my time on it. I deal with my life here and now. I'll deal with the afterlife when I die. Even though I don't believe in religion anymore, I still watch the preachers on Bet in the mornings because that's one of the only places on television where you got people trying to be positive about their lives. We pretty well believe in the same things, except that I took God out of the equation because in order to be truly free and enlightened, you can't bow down to anything. My conscience is my guide. I don't need a holy book to tell me how to live. The blueprint for my morality was imprinted on my soul when I was born. If God created me, He created my conscience, my mind, my willpower, and my soul. Following that is honoring what He created. That's as far as I go in being subservient to anything beyond me. If I'm part of His handiwork, then by following what I feel purely, I'm honoring whatever is divine in me. If everybody on the planet lived by this code, we wouldn't have all the bickering and fighting we have now in the name of religion. Life calling too. If you have any talent, that's God's gift to you. If you use that talent, that's your gift to God. Do not neglect your gift. I Timothy 4:14. Love your life on earth. This will be your pathway to heaven. Thanks be to God for His indescribable gift. 1 Corinthians 9:15. We have different gifts according to the grace given us. Romans 12:6. You have to live in the world to the extent that you need to earn a living, but if you're enlightened or anywhere near intelligent as an individual, you should realize there's a point where the sacrifice of the pure you is not worth the money or status the world gives you, because you're dishonoring who you really are and wasting your life doing things you don't really want to do for some external reward out there that cannot fulfill you because it doesn't address the real, pure you. We're all born with a few archetypes that are our purity as human beings, away from everything we've ever been brainwashed to believe in. An archetype is an inner, intuitive standard of how you should live and who you feel you should be. Every day I release my natural energy to a worthy level to reach my standard of the person I want to be. This is the only way to live greatly, develop a strong, stable identity, and ride a euphoric wave of aesthetic bohemian energy forever, like I do, while I laugh at the foolishness of the world around me, with most people chasing one brainwashed delusion or another, thinking they got something, while I'm living in the moment, riding my life, seeing it for the exact, finite experience it is, with no illusions about anything out there that the system tells me can greatly enhance my state of being or make me much happier than I am now. My way of living has not been covered by any self-help, New Age or religious book I've ever seen, because virtually everyone who writes these types of books are copying ideas they saw in other books that are classified as our conventional wisdom of the day, with not one free enough to say screw all that crap, I'm gonna study my life as a case study of one, and that will be my only truth in my life. Life is really very simple, but most people are too brainwashed to see it. You are just you, that essence, that state of consciousness that's always flowing through your head. Beyond the basics, material goods can't elevate the state of being, just like a bucket can never be overfilled. There's a finite limit as to how much material goods can increase your happiness. Most other people can't take you to a higher feeling about life, because first of all, only you can create your own happiness by what you do and what you think of yourself, and secondly, very few of us have deep, intimate connections that stir our souls except with our pets and kids, and they are more materialistic than a pure, equal, loving, soulmate/kindred spirit love affair. Most of our relationships are either superficial or symbiotic, including marriages. There are very few mythological soulmate relationships as love is portrayed in movies and literature, simply because most of us are generic people. How can we expect to have a great soul-stirring love affair when we are not inspired or original enough to stir that sensibility in another person such that they see us this beautiful, mythical, bohemian, lusty, sensual creature that is the object of their desires? It ain't happenin' much. On top of this, if you're enlightened, you have to live by your own code. You can't let other people interfere with your inner standard of who you see yourself as and what you must do day by day to honor this person you feel you were born to be. Even a great, mythological love affair must stop for a while at some point, so that the players can work on becoming the individuals their gods endowed them with the blueprint to be. We are born with a central core that is our purity as human beings. If there is something divine about us, this is it. The problem is that most of us get so massively indoctrinated by our culture that this purity gets covered over and repressed. To be enlightened and free is to figure out that you have an inner standard that is your purity as a human being, and you have to honor it every day by releasing that natural energy that lives inside of you. Every morning when I wake up, I know that all I own is right now, and I have to create my life right now. All anyone really owns at any moment in time is a sense of natural power or an absence of it to do whatever it is you really want to do with some manner of gusto and joy. The stuff you're surrounded by beyond basic material comfort and what other people think of you doesn't or shouldn't enter into the equation that is your life. My life is simple because it's pure. My purpose is to stay strong, powerful, free, inspired, beautiful, sensual and youthful every day until I die. All I have to do is exercise who I am by releasing my natural energy every day. When I get up every morning, I know that I have X amount of unused, natural potential energy inside of me. I immediately go through my paces to release most of this raw inspired energy with some intensity to the point where I've reached my inner standard of what I think is worthy. Then I go over to the aesthetic, hedonistic, loving, relaxing part of life and enjoy it for a while. On any given day, I follow a rough percentage of the types of energy I release as follows. 75% inspired energy. For me, this is physical and intellectual creative activities. 15% loving energy. I feel a need to give love to a few people and pets partially to get it back, but I also think it's an instinctive need to want to take care of other people and pets to a certain extent. 10% hedonistic. What I do to pursue pleasure for its own sake. This process of releasing energy is the only way any human being can live above the generic mundanity of the human condition to feel good about their lives for long periods of time. I'm not talking good in that average sense where you feel comfortable with no pain. That's generic dullness. So what? That's not what people like me were born for. I was born to experience my life to the depths, to feel it all and feel good in the transcendent, euphoric sense where I'm riding it, expressing who I am, releasing that natural energy that is me with some manner of joy, intensity, and gusto because I love to do it. The pursuit of a free, inspired sensual life does a number of things to make you feel good. At its lowest level, it creates endorphins that make you feel good. It gives you self-respect because you're doing the tough, challenging things you feel you must in order to be the person you want to be. This takes you to a spiritual aesthetic state of wellness. You feel good about your life when you're engaged in action, releasing all your positive, inspired energy. This is the fountain of youth, what constantly regenerates you. Dogs are happiest when they're running around the fields. The dog releases his natural energy and as a result he feels good. He doesn't release it and as a result he feels miserable. If you don't release your natural, inherent energy even for one day, you are betraying the person you were born with the potential to be. Even though you might not be aware of it on a conscious level, beyond our material and health needs, this unused energy is a major cause of most human misery, discontentment, psychosomatic disorders and mental illness. It builds up inside, causing a sense of disharmony that eats away at you like a cancer. If you release energy that's not inherent to you, such as going to school to study something you're not really interested in, working a job you don't really like, or doing some activity out of cultural indoctrination or because someone pushed you into it, at best, these activities will keep you feeling neutral. At worst, they'll stress you out and wear you down. They can't make you feel good about your life because they don't tap into the true identity that is you, what you were really born to do. Our souls, aka our subconscious minds, spit out idealized technicolor action shots of us in our finest moments, being who we were born to be. These are your archetypes, your pure essence as a human being. You're either being noble and true by following them, or you're a generic, lost soul following some illusion from the society you live in. The people you deal with, even your most cherished loved ones, cannot give you a great feeling about your life. They can cheerlead and give you love taps to help soothe your sore spots for a little while, but as soon as you're by yourself, it's just you alone again with the way you feel about your life, which never goes away. The only way you can feel great about yourself most of the time is to follow your archetype, and release all that pent-up energy that's inside of you. All the psychobabble, New Ageism, religion, material goods and pop culture status in the world cannot come close to you making a great effort to keep your soul strong by constantly releasing your pure, natural energy. But most people don't know this, nor will they ever live by it. They've been brainwashed to think something out there is gonna do something to permanently elevate their state of happiness if and when they achieve that illusion, but it never does. Then they wonder why they still feel empty inside. Why are jackpot lottery winners the exact same people they were before they won the big prize? It's not like they're permanently happier now, there's a new gleam in their eye or a fresh spring in their step. They buy some stuff and nothing changes. They're same person they were before. Your state of consciousness should never change if you're true to it. You should have that one solid, unchanging archetype that is who you are. It should be a happy, easygoing, inspired, free-flowing, strong state of being, but many people follow illusions from the outside world which pollute their true natures. Unenlightened people constantly have a sense of emptiness inside because they're not living in harmony with their true natures. As a result, they're always looking for something outside of themselves to fill the hole to make them feel better. Capitalist society has exploited this emptiness by creating a glittery world of consumer goods and pop culture entertainment which can only distract you or numb you over for a while. The real problem is that you are out of harmony with your true nature. This is the universal disease of modern Western society. People wonder why they can't find true love. You can't find true love until you love yourself enough to be willing to love someone else for no other motive than your pure love, not as a crutch to cover your inner sense of emptiness or self-contempt. Modern Western society sells us this grand illusion of life and weak people buy into it, sacrificing the pure archetypes they were born with, then wondering why they still feel empty inside even though they're walking billboards of capitalist excess and pop culture coolness. I discovered who I am, figured out a way to make a living off it, that's the standard I live by, and I either stay away from everything else the world tries to seduce me with or engage in it for a minor, trivial laugh here and there. Virtually every problem in life except for the practical ones of poverty and health stem from the same thing. People don't have the guts, inspiration, intelligence, originality, or fortitude to discover their true natures, then honor them with their own personal standard of how they should live by releasing a good dose of their natural energy every day. They become blobs of cultural indoctrination, out of harmony with themselves, following the lies from out there rather than themselves purely. Most of them will never realize why they can't get no satisfaction out of their lives, why they can't connect to that transcendent feeling of oneness with the gods that most of us instinctively crave but only a few of us ever get to on a sustained basis, commonly called in the vernacular in the groove, being unconscious, or get in your groove back. It's a free feeling where you feel good because you have a certain free mood from always releasing energy to become the person you want to be. You either know it and feel it or you don't. No amount of money, adoration from others, consumer goods, or pop culture entertainment can give it to you. At the other extreme away from pop culture bliss, you got people bowing down to some religious ideology, some new age idea or some psychobabble, self-help theory trying to live by an artificial code, repressing their true selves. They're a bunch of lost souls too. Anyone who doesn't recognize their true nature and tries to deny the fact that the human condition is inherently self-centered is a fool for living by some artificial delusion and denying their real selves. You can be kind, generous and compassionate, but it generally only exists in the pure sense without ulterior motives in people who know who they are and have energy to spare that they consciously want to share with the world. Most of the rest of us are self-centered and focused on our own little comfort levels, even though virtually all of us hold the delusion that we're good, kind, generous, loving people. Life Calling 3. This is where I belong. This is what I came in this world to do. Each of us has our own special gift from God, one of one kind and one of another. 1 Corinthians 7:7. Where your talents intersect with the world's needs is where your calling is. If you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life. Mark Twain. When talent and opportunity mesh, then you know that you have found your vocation. Ralph Waldo Emerson, 1803-1882. A calling is work from the heart. A career is work for the money. But yield who will to their separation. My object in living is to unite my avocation and my vocation, as my two eyes make one in sight. Only where love and need are one. and the work is play for mortal stakes. Is the need ever really done? For heaven and the future's sakes. Robert Frost, Two Tramps in Mud Time. A talent is a gift you're born with. A skill is a gift you give to yourself. Every master was a flunky once. You're doing your life's calling when at the end of the day, you feel energized, not drained because you've released your natural, inspired energy, what you were born to do. You get so absorbed in what you're doing that you love it because it makes you feel like a human thoroughbred, on the cutting edge of your particular frontier. Life is life as lived day by day, not some far-off illusory dream or some category like I'm a doctor or I wanna be a firefighter when I grow up. It's right here, right now, enjoy the journey because it's all you got. The process of finding your soul/identity/calling as a young person is simply to go to what you're interested in, do it for as long as you like it, and when you find something else you like better, try that. Keep doing this until you eventually find your identity, then everything should get very simple after that, except for the battle to stay inspired about your life, which has periods of difficulty even for the great masters who truly love their work. Life is a developmental process. Most people don't come out of the blocks with a fully developed calling or identity. They develop it over time by getting out there, seeing the world, experiencing life, and exploring it, often getting to their true natures in a roundabout way by trying lots of different things. It's like what John Holt, the education philosopher, said in the book Teach Your Own. If you know what kind of work you want to do, move toward it in the most direct way possible. If you want someday to build boats, go where people are building boats, find out as much as you can. When you've learned all they know or will tell you, move on. Before long, even in the highly technical field of yacht design, you may find you know as much as anyone, enough to do whatever you want to do. Eagles and hawks are among the few birds around that soar mightily through the skies, and it's usually alone by choice because they know all the other birds are flocking together somewhere, flapping around with each other, playing it safe. Who are you, the eagle or the pigeon? Will you follow your true calling or take a generic job like all the other clones in the flock around you, playing it comfy and dull? I'm not talking just to choose from among the career options available in the world. I'm saying find your true identity that might be completely independent of any profession out there. What you do with your life should be a calling, something you feel way down deep rather than a career, something you choose from a limited number of options the system sets up for you. The normal route is to plug into it in order to make it up the illusory ladder of success as defined by the system. Many people choose a career as a foregone conclusion because it runs in the family or it's the thing to do in the local culture, but you're being pushed into a direction which is ultimately not the real you. The creative force of the human soul is infinite. The world never tires of practical need, frivolous novelty, aesthetic transcendence, and spiritual inspiration. Anyone free enough to generate their own ideas and follow through with hard work should be able to make their own way through by doing what they want. Your calling or life purpose may not come in one big intuitive leap. It usually starts by you going in the direction you feel drawn to or curious about. You go with some uncertainty, but the point is you go even if you're uncertain and fear failure, because this is the quest of life, to go where you feel drawn regardless of the possible consequences, because to not go would be to dishonor yourself and live a trivial compromise safe life, which is the worst fate of all. You get into it. It may not work out, but you learn from it and at least know that door is closed, so you move on to the next thing. It might fit for you, so you get better and better until it becomes your major source of inspiration and you become a master, ultimately becoming an inspiration to others. Often your calling comes from adversity. You go through a tragedy that forces you to confront what's real in life. Follow your instincts. Find what's natural and intentional in you, what you really want to do with your life. There should only be a few things that really, truly inspire you and make you feel good at any point in time. Find them and follow them. Your dreams are your soul talking to you. If you have a particular dream when you sleep that you can remember, try to analyze it and see if it means anything about the direction in which to proceed. Try to keep learning about life and the world, for out of this comes inspiration and a new direction in which to travel in the journey to your soul. Use your creativity to draw a few pictures, write a story about your life or a poem, and this could be the way you discover your true passions. Go somewhere to be alone for a while. Some people find their callings by going to great shrines like Lourdes or Stonehenge. Some people make pilgrimages by walking continuously for a week or longer in a sparse environment. Many people are afraid of their callings because they fear it might be hard work, commitment, uncertainty, failure, and a loss of their current comfort level. Everything great started as a small idea by a lone individual worked at little by little, day by day. There's not necessarily any explosive, earth-shattering moment of enlightenment, discovery, or eureka. There are always moments of high inspiration as you get absorbed in your work, but you have to be willing to expend a lot of energy to your calling. But if it's your calling, you enjoy the process. It's your lifeblood. It keeps you inspired and happy. When you set out to do something, fear is good because it shows you're making a stab at living a worthy life. Whatever you choose, love what you do. It shouldn't be a sacrifice. It should be an enjoyment of the journey, all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Don't set high specific goals. Don't go hard on yourself. Just work at what you believe in day by day as long as it keeps you inspired. If you get bored of it and the thrill is gone, move on to the next frontier that inspires you. The moment you sit back and intend to rest on your laurels for the rest of your life is the moment you've defeated yourself in living a full life. A man contracted a disease which meant all his fingers had to be amputated. After his depression, he learned how to use a prosthetic device, then set out to help all poor amputee kids get prosthetic devices for free. Helen Keller said she owed everything to her disabilities. Open your heart, use your life to help somebody with your unique gifts, and if you're true to yourself, there's no reason in the world why you won't get the financial and personal reward every real human being craves. Simply find your soul, pursue it with a vengeance to do something useful for somebody. Find what's good in you, spread it around, and everybody gets empowered, inspired, and energized in the process. Life is a process of staying inspired and getting stronger, which means constant challenge to better yourself and better humanity somehow. The only worth you ever really have is the worth you give to yourself. The only worth you have to the outside world is your usefulness to it. Most people do a superficially useful function in exchange for money. True enlightened free spirits seek their purpose, then seek to purge it regularly via naturally inspired soulful pursuits. You must go where you feel you are needed, strongest and the most useful, where you feel comfortable, where your natural talents lie, where you belong. You will know you have found your true calling when you feel right doing what you do. If whatever you're doing feels dull, it's not the real you. This is my prescription for success in the outside world: find your calling, then find a way to use it to earn your keep. But for many creative types, their callings often don't pay the bills, but they're so free that they choose to live as poor artists because that's who they are, all they really care about, and go as far as they can. Then when the inspiration runs out, they die, and that's the way I look at life. If I can't be my pure, real self and live my life pursuing my time freely, I might as well be dead for all the living I'm doing anyway. If you feel that what you're doing is right and good, this should give you the power to believe in yourself, because, make no mistake about it, the world is often brutal on pioneers in any capacity except for the few who luck out by catching the spirit of the times like personal computers did in the 1980s, but even they had an initial drought. Everybody laughed at all those nerds with that trivial toy until some nerd came up with an accounting program and a word processing system, then everybody started buying them. In any event, this is the most highly honorable way to go: reach inside, find what's worthy, unique, and good within, and use it to spread your power onto the world, as opposed to doing a mundane job that anyone can do. It's more fun being yourself, provided you have the guts to stick through when times get tough, and they will at the beginning of your quest. Don't do it for ego or money, do it because it's your soul, passion, and lifeblood. Work so hard at it that there can be no doubt that you're a master, and I guarantee the world will open up to you at some point in time. It's all about the intuitive flow of the soul, so that's where the action is, to take the time to know yourself. If you want the freedom to not work a regular job while you're pursuing your soul, save some money, then live as cheaply as possible. You really don't need much beyond a place to sit and sleep, because life is all about action and attitude, not in your surroundings. Goals are basic, get some from your soul and work on them little by little, day by day. The true core of life with which to achieve anything is the soul, which is your engine and power, and when you do what you do out of love as an end in itself, you have all the power in the world. So the way I preach to earn your keep is to figure your soul out, then use your inspired self to do something useful, positive, entertaining, inspired and / or worthy for the world. The true heart of the enlightened free spirit is the desire to unleash the natural inspiration within to capture something unique, beautiful, worthy, original, intense, and profound about life that's your own, that no one else has ever done before. It's part of the restless, evolving spirit of man, to blaze their own paths, to go their own way, creating their own unique lives as they go along where no man has gone before. Such people may appear to be selfish on the surface, but we're just being ourselves, caught up in little worlds of our own creation to make the best use of our lives as we see it. It's a craving to release the energy within to touch transcendence somehow, perpetually inspiring ourselves while creating something of objective, true, pure value, a new truth perhaps, a new consumer product, a great work of art, an inspiring adventure, or helping less privileged people by doing something worthy and selfless. The Renaissance man is the proverbial explorer artist of life, the person tuned to inner forces who does whatever it is that they do because they feel they must. If you pass your inspiration on to the world, that's great, but if you do it for your own intrinsic love of life, that's great too, because at the very least, you will inspire some people merely by being yourself. In any event, this subclass of people are just following their true natures, which creates a great feeling anyway, so it's the best way to live. Life calling 4. To find your own way is to follow your own bliss. This involves analysis, watching yourself and seeing where the real deep bliss is, not the quick little excitement but the real, deep life-filling bliss. Joseph Campbell. Only the truth which was acquired by your own thinking, through the efforts of your intellect, becomes a member of your own body, and only this truth really belongs to us. Arthur Schopenhauer. We shall not cease from exploration. And the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started, and know the place for the first time. T.S. Eliot. In battle or business, whatever the game, in law or in love, it is ever the same. In the struggle for power, or the scramble for pelf, let this be your motto. Rely on yourself. 4. Whether the prize be a ribbon or throne, the victor is he who can go it alone. John Godfrey Sachs, The Game of Life. Think of Van Gogh painting Starry Night, Edison feverishly searching for a metal to withstand the heat of electric light, Nikola Tesla with such advanced discoveries that his fellow scientists couldn't understand them, Michelangelo and his need to sculpt stone, Steve Jobs trying to create beautifully running Apple computers, or any athlete intensely training to reach his limits. And you've got the feeling that all enlightened free spirits strive for, a feeling when you're using up all your natural energies, being as inspired as you can be, feeling like you're on the precipice of a frontier within yourself possibly unknown to anyone else in history, forging a new path in your life and possibly for humanity. The spirit of life, the real you, your soul, wants you to be yourself, a happy, easygoing, adventurous, whimsical, untamed free spirit, but society came along in the form of some businessmen, politicians, soldiers, and religious leaders who realized that independent free-thinking individuals were a disruptive threat to the social order. So first they gave us religion, then public education to train us to become pacified working clones chasing their version of success. In order to fix the bad ones that didn't fit in, they adopted a capitalist solution called psychology, mental health, self-help, and psychiatry, all sanitized bits of knowledge created for the paradigm of the traditional work ethic, such that if you don't fit this mold, you're off-center, and in order to fix you, they have to set you on the straight and narrow path of career and family values, where the ideal is to work your butt off in some job or business somewhere to get the money to buy a lot of things you don't really need, then go off to your life of monogamy in the suburbs with your wife and 3 kids. In order to be enlightened, you have to have a bit of the divine in you, which means you have to try to transcend your limits and live by the code of your soul to stay inspired about life as much as you can. The hardest thing in the world is to stay inspired all the time, which is almost impossible, but if you consciously live your life to achieve this end and know when you're going down, you can use the downtime for rest and incubation to further inspire you when you swing back to your old self. This is the true test, to keep swinging back to your youthful inspired self, which not too many people realize is the key to life, much less honor it. Some free thinkers are tolerated because they become successful according to society's standards, but if they don't, they're looked upon as eccentric nerds tinkering in back rooms with their foolish ideas. Like most geniuses throughout history ahead of their time, the Wright brothers, Copernicus, Jesus, Socrates, Newton, Darwin, Freud, Havelock Ellis, sexual pioneer, Margaret Sanger, advocate for women's rights and birth control, and the type of people on TV shows that profile unique characters. Like Beyond Invention, innovators, Weird Homes, and Weird Wheels. The most thankless job in the world is generally pioneer in any capacity, but the people who follow this path have no choice because they have to be true to themselves. In order to live a full life, you have to blaze your own path regardless of where it takes you, come hell or high water. In the end, the only worthwhile life is to know the music in your soul and live it out no matter what. Visionary souls always encounter violent opposition from small minds, and the world is full of small minds thinking they're great, free, liberated open minds. Virtually all great leaps forward in humanity came from self-absorbed people with this unique genetic seed to know they were different and to pursue it no matter what. Galileo, Da Vinci, Copernicus, Newton, Bacon, Cook, Socrates, Nietzsche, among many others, made their leaps forward because they were self-absorbed and strong enough to know they were right and the world was wrong. An old Jamaican artist once told me, if you want to fly, you have to free yourself from the chase, meaning if you want to live a great life close to your soul, you have to free yourself from the bondage of capitalism and pop culture brainwash. Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist, said the universal archetype for the heroic life is to follow your bliss without fear, take your own journey and share your discoveries with the world if you feel so inclined. That's a real hero, not some manufactured media star like a boy band or some guy who does rehearsed action scenes in a movie that seem incredible, but it's not quite like Charles Lindbergh going across the Atlantic Ocean alone in a small plane untested at that distance, or Hearn, Scott, Ross, Shackleton, and Amundsen braving the desolate cold to explore the polar ice caps. Bliss is defined as the deep sense of being totally engaged in life, to surrender to the flow, the internal power within your soul. When you set a goal in the capitalist world, it's plotting at best. You might reach that goal and make a lot of money, then what do you do the next day? You still have to live with yourself. When you live by soul, you're living intentionally all the time, doing what you intuitively feel is right. You wake up every day to get your dose of life regardless of the world around you. Living by flow sometimes means you have to get out of your own way, break with the routine you follow day after day, and do what you feel inside is the natural intuitive thing to do, which often runs the risk of an uncertain future, which is why most people live compromised lives. They don't have the guts to go for what they really feel inside. It's like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, or Prometheus giving fire to the human race. They didn't just play it safe and weigh out the possible consequences, they went ahead anyway and crossed the line into the unexplored frontier come hell or high water because they had to. It was in their nature as the curious free entities they were attempting to live full, free lives. If what you do, regardless of what it is, even if you're making tons of money from it, doesn't naturally inspire you and give you joy such that you renew yourself through it day after day, then all is lost. Some people don't crash but continue on with this stilted, uninspired gung-ho attitude about making it in the capitalist world, and many do get the money and status they want, but the price tag is horrible. It costs them their natural vital sparks for life, and they end up like all those nerdy deadheads you see on the covers of business magazines thinking they're some kind of success stories, when in actuality they live dull lives divorced from their true natures. Many people are so dull and / or brainwashed that they get bored and depressed if they don't have an agenda to answer to, like school, religion, work, or another person like a paternalistic authority taking care of them. But if you're a true free spirit artist of life, you don't need it or want it. You're happy creating your own agenda. You're never bored. There aren't enough hours in the day for you. In your life, you'll encounter many situations where the people around you are all brainwashed to one limited point of view or going a little crazy in a collective response to something that happens either locally in your area or in the media, whereas I've long ago detached from what they call the news, firstly because it's not my news, that doesn't involve my life, and secondly, the news is a business venture just like any other entertainment venue. The producers choose its content, the bias with which they'll report it, and to top it off, they live by the motto, if it bleeds, it leads, which means it's 90+% negative, which I don't need to fill my mind up with, because my reality is my little life in my head and how I can maximize my pursuit of happiness, pleasure, and transcendence. Success and happiness are you close to the primal essence you were born with in your soul, living by your true nature all the time, absolutely sure of it regardless of all the crap you see around you. When all is said and done, all you have is you. Everybody else has their own agenda and their own problems. Most allies will vanish when you're down and out, so accept this reality of your life. Life calling websites. Try hashtag 650.14, hashtag 658.041 and HF 5381-82 at the library for books about vocational guidance and self-employment / home business. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/the_great_work. The great work is the discovery of one's true self, that is, his true identity. Changingcourse.com. Findmypath.com. cbn.com/dailylife/career. donfields.com/user/freebookonpurpose.doc, God's calling for you. joybroughton.com. kurtrosengren.typepad.com/occupational-adventure/career_passion. som.yale.edu/careers/cdp/self/values.ppt. whywork.org/about/features/stories/career.html. workhappy.com. louRockwell.com/north/north118.html. meaningfullife.com. pawcreek.org/article/endtime/the-purpose-drive-and-life-golden-calf.htm. prospect.org. useless-knowledge.com/article/apr/oct110.html. Have fun on the job regardless of what the work is. vanderbilt.edu/exploration. yourlifework.com, career and job search from the heart. ucg.org/booklet/lw/findings/ucces.htm. Chapter 2. Life as lived day by day. Have a practical mind focused on improving your life. There is tons of stuff written on self-help and setting goals at hashtag 155-158 at the library. It's impossible to change unless your organic brain changes, as in a hit on the head or taking drugs that mess with your brain chemistry. Whenever you see some alleged guru talk about changing, you know that person is not enlightened. The highest anyone can go is to live by their true nature. That's it. Everything in the outside world is minor next to this. Your natural essence or state of mind should be to try to live an inspired a life as possible by releasing most of your natural energy every day, always trying to feel good and improve. Don't react emotionally to things that happen outside of yourself. Keep grounded in your own essence as a human being, even when loved ones die. You can't go crazy every time you hear bad news on the radio. There is you and your essence as a human being and the outside world. Don't let it affect your state of being. After that, you have to earn a living in the world. You can either go to the library and borrow books at number 331, jobs. Number 332, money. Hashtag 650-659, mostly. Number 658, business. Hashtag 370-379, education. Or buy my books. I lived a charmed, naive life until I had to get real and do some practical things. Unless you're independently wealthy and never have to worry about it, you had better educate yourself about money above all else. If you want health knowledge, either go to #610-619 at the library or buy my health book. You need to able to think creatively to generate ideas to help you thrive. You have to be able to talk to people, deal with them, feel them, be empathetic to them. If you're in business, you have to sell yourself one way or another. The only way to have great energy is to determine what your true nature is, then resolve to release most of that energy every day, for its own sake. Your purpose is to release what your God put into you. This is what you love to do by nature. Figure out how to earn money from it, then do it. You don't need some $300 infomercial tape package. Do what your God created you to do. If people don't like it, too bad for them. Read my book, A Free Spirit's Search for Enlightenment. Your life is just energy. All you own is your body and spirit. It doesn't matter to me whether I own a $10,000 bed or a cheap bed. My life is what I do. I stay at the cheapest hotels because that's good enough. My life is my spirit, not the status of staying at an expensive hotel. We just had a scandal in Canada where some cabinet minister rejected the hotel room provided to her to sleep in a more expensive one and charge it to the Canadian people. Is she worthy to be a cabinet minister? If anything takes you away from the daily process of releasing your natural energy, it's a bloodsucker draining you. It could be the quest for money, alcohol, watching TV, reading frivolous magazines, a bad relationship, eating junk food, etc. The only happy people are the ones who blow off their natural energy every day. Think intelligently and practically to make plans for what you want to do. Try to develop an abundant win/win approach to life. You win by helping others improve their lives. If you win at the expense of others by shortchanging them or exploiting them, one of them might hurt you in revenge. Even if they don't, you still know you're a scumbag. Don't tie the quality of your life to money. Once you have a modestly comfortable life, you don't need to upgrade to a bigger house, more clothes, etc. Save your extra money. Invest it in real estate, stocks, a business, etc. Let's say you win the lottery and get $40 million. What will you do every day for the rest of your life after the initial glitters wears off? If it's not much but eat, drink and hire hookers, then your essence as a human being is to be a glutton, take. If you aspire to hit a home run with your life every day, you simply make the effort to release the natural energy inside of you with intensity. I call it earning my self-respect and feeling good. What's a real man and a gentleman? The big tragedy of life nobody wants to talk about is that we pursue artificial codes of life defined for us by others as opposed to our true natures, then wonder why, despite all our material possessions, career success, status, and accolades from out there in the collective mindset we call society, we still don't feel like we're quite there. A real man and a gentleman is somewhere in the middle. He's not one-dimensionally ambitious to achieve material success in a capitalist world, but he knows he has to earn a living, and he does it by working hard at whatever he feels is good within himself. A gentleman is not an emotional dunce. He's friendly, empathetic, helps people and shows love to his close intimates. He's not the stereotypical one-dimensional, emotionless man. He works hard to get what he wants, but he's also a good guy. He's a loner for his vision most of the time, but he's a team player too. I'm not suggesting that you talk in an emotional way like sensitive, gushing women do, but I am suggesting that you pass out the olive branch to people you come across. It's better for you to appear friendly than to appear either neutral or antisocial. Show love through work. Work hard to help people and they'll like you and give you the money you want. Success is partially about making money, but more so feeling proud of yourself because you feel you're doing something good and worthy with your life. You are who you are the way you were born. Don't fake it by trying to be something you're not. It's not about you achieving success by somebody else's standards, the standards of the world. It's about living by your own standards with your own integrity. Men have a big problem with anger. I believe it's partially because of the hormone testosterone coursing through our veins and partially because we're trained to measure ourselves by world standards and never quite measure up to that image of success constantly flaunted at us in the mass media. Anger never achieves anything but makes you look like an ass and alienates the people around you. If you get angry, stay cool. Let it pass, then figure out why you were angry. It's usually because we feel betrayed or hurt, that the world is not fair. Live with it. That's the real world. Everybody in the world has their own sob story. You don't want to hear other people's sob stories, so don't talk about yours. Be strong on the inside. Become the person you were born to be. All you have to do is give honest effort day by day to honoring who you were born to be by nature. Be a man of action, not a depressed wimp making excuses for your pathetic, couch potato, passive life. If you feel guilty about shameful things you've done, mistakes you've made and shortcomings you have, forgive yourself and forget it all. Focus on a positive life in the future, not anything else. Don't try to control others. You can only control yourself. Talk to your wife and children about things that matter. Show affection and love to them. Honor your commitments and promises to them. Every man has problems, anxieties, and insecurities. I'm not suggesting you talk them out deeply with your spouse, but let her know if you got a problem so she knows it's not her who's causing your bad mood. In order to get what you want, you must first help others get what they want. The stronger you are as an individual, the more loving and peaceful you are. Persistence and determination are the keys to success. You must know why you are doing something, then you must do it with all your power. Great minds create ideas. Be the best, give your best to the world. Truly great men never gloat over their accomplishments. They simply move on to the next one. To work to help others is the greatest creed. If you do good to others, you will be successful at some point in time. There is no safety net, only opportunity. Recognize that you're an independent individual fine with your own thoughts. Look for clarity about your life's purpose. Work towards specific goals. Never give unsolicited advice. Don't openly put other people down. Don't act like a jerk. Don't be too materialistic. Don't jump to quick conclusions about people. Be tender with loved ones. Accept people on their terms. If you feel you're doing a good thing, don't listen to what people say about you. Be productive. Work hard. Show reserve. Don't blab things out, especially if you're angry. Bite your lip. Let it pass. Don't look back. Live for the future. If you screwed up, you can't change it now, so forget about it. Keep your priorities straight. Work on improving yourself. Do more work than wishful thinking. Always learn new things that can help you. Don't judge others. Focus on your own life. Don't look for fights but defend your position if you must. When you mess up, own up to it and apologize. Live by your inner sense of accountability, aka your soul. No matter what you achieve in the world, never brag, act uppity or show off. It's about what you feel within yourself. It's not about trying to make other people think you're fantastic. That's vanity. Strive to feel all right about your life right now. Be an optimist. If people criticize you like your family and your boss, keep your mouth shut, let them talk. Your reality is within yourself. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. Don't be moody. Even if you feel angry, down or frustrated, never let it show. Don't feel guilty about anything if you did not intentionally hurt anybody. If your mother found your porn stash and called you a loser, laugh and forget about it. Do what's right for you. If your wife or mother don't approve, too bad for them. Forgive everybody who ever made you feel bad in your mind, and live your life honoring who you are in your soul. Be a man, your own man. Be kind and loving but set boundaries. A normal loving relationship is to give steady kindness, love, conversation, and help, but not to go to either extreme. You have no qualms about doing what it takes to respect yourself as an individual and balance it out with a relationship. You're not all over the place either, trying to control your spouse or being controlled by her. You're good enough if you feel the power you feel you were born to be in your soul and live by it. Be mindful and conscious of who you are as an individual. In order to make friends and influence people, smile, be a nice guy, go along with what anybody says, be like them, act like them, never criticize, never find fault, etc. Be enthusiastic and inspired about your work. Set clear goals and work on them little by little, day by day. Be disciplined, work hard. Your mental attitude is everything. Keep your thoughts only on what you want out of life. Don't burden others with your personal problems. What separates the great from the average people is a sense of destiny. Your soul is the greatest source of strength in the universe. If you master yourself through self-discipline, no one will ever master you. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Never stop learning. Move a mountain one shovelful at a time. Dreamers are visionaries. Do not hate. It is self-destructive. The greatest revenge is to live well. You were born with a unique mission given to you by God. Your job is to make it come to pass. Keep your focus on the prize. To be successful, simply provide a useful service. The power or weakness of your mind will determine everything. For every dream, a price must be paid through hard work. A few flakes fluke out, but most success stories are the result of hard work. Don't wait for opportunities. Create them. Have the courage to go for what you want rather than fear failure. Your destiny is up to you alone. Be a people person. Be friendly, or at least act that way. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. What you look for is what you will find, either good or bad. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Compliment people. Be easygoing, or at least act that way. Smile. Believe in yourself even when nobody else does. Surround yourself with positive, hard-working people in your business. A belief in yourself and persistence are the keys to success. On the road to success, you will fail. Learn from your failures. Sometimes failure will be just what you need to find true enlightenment. Try number 155 to number 158 or BF 561 and HQ 755 at the library for books on bettering yourself. Self-respect equals strong spirit. You earn your self-respect and feel joy while you're releasing the natural inspired energy inside of you. You have to love what you do. It has to come from your inner being, which is your true nature. Self-respect is a daily thing. To me, it's a synonym for strong spirit. The way you live shows through your body, face, and aura. It's not hard to distinguish between people who look like they have strong spirits from other people because they have a kind of inspired power to them. Young people have this grace period where they look good without trying, and since good looks are equated with goodness and strength, other people think they're strong and noble even if they're not. I've known plenty of girls who were stunning at 20 with that mundane, generic middle-aged look by 40. You know they lost something, but what exactly did they lose? They lost their youthful spirit, a kind of inner strength where you're connected to the purity you were born with. Most people lose it by early middle age. The only way to keep a strong hold of it is to release your God-given store of natural energy every day. But who does that? A few artists, farmers, athletes, teachers, musicians, dancers, hikers, nature outdoor people, activists, enlightened free spirits, and that's about it. Writers don't count because they're cerebral. They just sit there. You have to release a good dose of your natural energy, creative, intellectual, physical, sensual, and loving. By the time we're 40, all those years of living give us the faces and bodies we deserve. Everybody has faded away except for the few people who live by self-respect with strong spirits. They still got a hold of their youthful sparks, their inspired power, the gleam in their eye and wholesome looks, while most people are overweight with those pasty complexions that bear no marks of a life lived with intensity, toughness, and the joy of freely expressing oneself to the aesthetics of the free spirit within. You can't build up a store of self-respect or a strong spirit as with money. You have to earn it every day, one day at a time. If you don't earn it for several days straight, you start to devolve into mundanity very quickly. You lose that sense of lightness, control, power, and fun that life should really be all about, a feeling every day when you wake up that you're gonna do some tough, worthy, interesting things today and take your life for a good to great ride of exertion and sensual experience. It's self-honor. Every day when you wake up, you either know you must honor the true nature your God put into you when He created you by releasing most of that natural energy inside of you, or you're not aware that this is what really matters in life, so you follow the artificial values you're surrounded by in the society you live in. We've created huge self-help, new age, and capitalist success training industries and lots of weight loss, anorexic, anxiety, depression, alcoholism, addiction, stress management programs, but most people's mental and emotional problems stem from a simple cause. The biggest problem in life in modern societies for people who are living at a decent standard of living and not constantly worried about basic survival is that they're living by the artificial values of their society, therefore not tapped into who they were really born to be by nature. Over time, living by these artificial values messes people up. They lose whatever sense of joy or vitality they may have started out with. Think of yourself at 5 years old. That's about as real as most people ever get, because after that, the school system gets its hooks into you. You'll get brainwashed by the world and probably never go back to being like that kid you were, even though you have the same soul and consciousness for life. There should be no change in who you are ever if you're naturally following what's in your soul. We do not use up the inspired, loving and sensuous energy inside of ourselves. It's in there telling us through our inner voice how out of harmony we are with ourselves and how miserable we feel because we haven't purged it as we should by nature. I know how I feel after 2 or 3 days of not honoring myself by not releasing my natural energy. Then I look at people I'm surrounded by and see some of them who have not done anything inspired or sensuous in the past 10 or 20 years. They have not released their free spirits with intensity and passion for the love of the process. Then they wonder why they always feel anywhere from average to miserable, so they go to the mall and buy more crap they don't need, or buy a tub of ice cream or a case of beer, or both. It's that empty feeling that something is not quite right with your life. Money can't solve it. Neither can love. You alone must face yourself and honor the talents and abilities you were born with if you want to be one of the few people who live a great life for the hell of it, because that's what life should be, a great sensory experience. You simply have to know what you were born to do and burn off that energy every day. It's the only way you can possibly feel anywhere from good to great and earn your self-respect every single day of your life, one day at a time. Just like you earn your self-respect by being true to yourself, you also earn self-contempt when you're not true to yourself and let your natural energy sit inside of you unused while you either sit around watching TV or do things that don't come from your soul, like work a job that does nothing for you, study something in school that doesn't interest you, get addicted to something, or read romance novels. If you don't live by your natural intuitive code, the unused store of natural energy builds up inside of you day after day until you feel depressed and miserable virtually all the time, because you're dishonoring yourself by not releasing this natural energy you were born to purge every single day. The archetypes of the ideal human beings to me are Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. They were two strong, healthy, natural, primal people living close to nature, using their brains and skills to live bountiful lives. God punished them in the book of Genesis for going their own way too far, but to my way of thinking they were just following the natural curiosity that He, God, gave them. I live by what I feel in my free spirit. It's all good as long as I don't let my anger get the better of me and take revenge on those who wrong me, not because I'm above my aggressive thoughts, because I'm not. Nobody is. Everybody feels anger when somebody wrongs them. My nature tells me to punish people who use me, steal from me, or otherwise exploit me, but society has created laws and I'll live by them in order to stay out of jail. Self-honor and nobility. Living by values other than your true nature is like putting on an expensive designer, high-fashion shirt, or the jacket from your football team. You look like all the other guys trying to be cool, trendy in crowders, but underneath the shirt it's still the same you. Loads of people never discover this. They get to the end of their lives and still don't realize it doesn't matter what's going on out there or what other people might be thinking of you. You don't have to put on an image for anybody. Your life is in your head. Your responsibility is to walk your own path and tend your own garden. Our technologically advanced societies are screwed because we exchanged our true natures for gadgets, machines, pop culture entertainment, video games, hair color, brand name clothes, and artificial lifestyles sitting in front of screens instead of living close to what we feel within ourselves and close to nature in general. I don't care about trophies or awards. I don't care about money beyond having enough for basic comfort and security as opposed to excessive luxury, which is the American dream ideology. Get much more money than you could ever possibly need to buy a bunch of meaningless, frivolous stuff that doesn't enhance how you feel inside. Everybody knows deep down that it's wrong to aspire to a lifestyle of material excess while half the world is hungry, but this is the ideology of success pounded into us. The mass media runs on selling advertising for the cult of material excess. Very few people are strong enough to see past this to live their own lives. Native people throughout history who lived close to nature always lived by the creed that you take what you need and leave the rest for others. This is the way nature operates. Take what you need and not any more than this. Don't exploit anything. Extreme material excess is wrong. We all intuitively know it's not right to surround yourself with loads of frivolous goods while so many people starve every day and die because they can't get basic medicine. According to UNICEF, 30,000 children die every single day non-stop. Never ending, as they can't get enough food and basic medicines that cost under $1 per dose. I watch some show like MTV's Cribs and I know how disgusting the world is. You got these people over here flaunting their newly found wealth gained by being manufactured pop culture idols while lots of people are dying somewhere because they can't get $1's worth of food or medicine. This is why I will always be down on this society I live in. This violates the moral code within yourself that you were born with. If you have any nobility, it's gone as soon as you start looking for happiness through buying frivolous material things you don't need. That's one big reason why the modern Western nations are screwed in the spiritual sense. There's no balance in the way people live. We don't try hard enough to help the bottom rung of the economic ladder. The money spent on hair color and video games could probably solve world hunger and homelessness and buy medicine for 1 billion people. It's a big mess of disharmony. If the fat cats treated the poor people a little better, we might have less violence than we do now, since most acts of aggression come from rage against perceived injustice. I'm not defined by what people think of me, my status or position out in the world, what I own, the clothes I wear, what religion I might be a member of, what political party I vote for, what sports team I might cheer for, what country I live in, or what I think is cool stuff in the pop culture sense. My life is my thoughts, feelings, and action minute by minute within my being. That's what life really is, how you live within yourself, not some image you or other people manufactured for you from the material world. It's your consciousness and attitude, what you do with it, what kind of action you generate from within yourself for your love of your life. You're accountable to yourself the way you were created, not what the world wants you to be. This has destroyed more lives than anything I can think of, people buying into paradigms of life other than who they really are by nature. I blame most of our failures as a free, enlightened society on our formal institutions and the mass media. They brainwash you and everybody around you, so in order to free yourself from your society to live by your free spirit, you not only have to reject your institutional and mass media indoctrination, you also have to realize that most of your friends and family are massively brainwashed and make allowances for their limited way of thinking. All you really own is your body, mind, and soul. That's where you live your life, within your own being. The outside world comes in and says we'll give you rank, status and position out in the world. You can earn money and buy a bunch of stuff, even stuff you don't need. Different people will make different amounts of money based on their abilities, inheritance, and luck. We'll give you a game to play called socioeconomic status. Your purpose in life is to climb as high as you can on this illusory ladder we've created so you can compare yourself with other people based on monetary worth and status in the community to determine how much of a winner you are by capitalist standards. The problem with this model of life is that it doesn't address what's in your spirit and character, which is why I don't play it, because my life is all free spirit bohemian, dancing fool when I'm high. As a self-proclaimed enlightened free spirit, it's all about keeping this essence that is my body, mind, and soul strong, powerful, vital, free and high. I create well-being and euphoria within myself through what I do as opposed to my position or socio-economic status in the outside world. Chapter 3. Your life is your true nature or soul. Your essence is your free spirit. They give us 100 or so choices in floor coverings, but nobody ever questions the meaninglessness of home decor and home improvement, especially while kids are living in straw huts somewhere, starving. They got TV networks, books, magazines, and an entire industry dedicated to something absolutely useless, and nobody bats an eye but people like me. They give us several hundred career options to choose from in grade school, but nobody ever says go out, be a bohemian, explore your life, discover what you really like to do, then try to develop a way to earn a living from that. There are two very clear separate boxes of life. What I'm all about purely and freely. What the world is about and trying to indoctrinate me with. Most people around me are either buying into the capitalist rat race or the spectator consumer pop culture lifestyle, always looking to either buy something or be entertained by something new. A smaller group of people are buying into other things like religion, a sentimental allegiance to their particular ethnic group, a particular genre of music, fashion, patriotism, politics, professional sports, new age ideas, psychobabble, etc. I call it the bull's tea of the world. It's got nothing to do with who I am. My only purpose in life is to become who my God created me to be. I don't need all that stuff out there invading my mind and polluting it. Most people in a technologically advanced, modern society are following something outside of themselves as individuals. It's all there on TV and computer screens all the time, in magazines, and in the minds of most people you know who are walking specimens of cultural indoctrination. They're either buying into this myth of a communal society or acting like they do for appearance's sake, because every last one of us is a loner who spends more than 23 hours of every day alone in his or her own thoughts, known to no one but ourselves, yet they're trying to make us think we have common bonds as the society of humanity when there's so much greed, exploitation, anger, pain, and suffering out there. It's a big fake job. If the elitists really cared, they'd share their wealth with the others, but they don't. Go to any town. You see two sides, the rich and the poor. If we were really a society united by our humanity, we should share and make it more equitable, but we don't. Most of us think we're good Christians while we live our lives of excess in houses bigger than we need. That's why I'm not buying any bull about a united society anywhere. Just about everybody is buying into some artificial value, concept, or idea from out in the world. It's no different than the big screen in the novel 1984 by George Orwell, where everybody was interested in the phony war going on out there somewhere in TV land. Our leaders tell us that we're fighting over there for freedom, justice, democracy, and the American way, but it's really about making money for the fat cats who supply the equipment and weapons for war. It's all part of the sales machine of the world that has a vested interest in separating you from your true nature and turning you into a pacified consumer clone so you'll buy what they're selling. You can start on the path to discover who you really are by shutting the tube off and trying to figure out what makes you tick. Then you can throw out all the material things you don't need or donate them to a charity. After that, move into a smaller place. This takes effort, at least at first. It seems so much easier to sit back and watch all them silly shows filling up your mind with delusions about fashion, glamour, and coolness. You might think it's more fun to be a pop culture clone, constantly buy new, trendy stuff at the mall and gossip with your friends about celebrities and local cool people than to try to be an artist of your life, but it all falls to pieces at some point in time because you have not developed a base of self-respect and a strong spirit through honoring yourself every day through what you do, which is why all people except for enlightened free spirits crash and burn sooner or later. After being alive for 50 years, I know what it's like to wake up in the morning with an aimless mindset, looking for some kind of fun and entertainment to pass the day, and if you do it with friends it kinda masks the feelings of emptiness and wasting your life for a while. The only thing that does it for me is to do something tough from the natural store of energy in my soul and never stop. Do it every day except for when I'm sick or injured. The only way I get a real rise out of life is to blow off that load of inspired, sensual, hedonistic and loving energy. I never get it sitting around watching something on a screen. Unenlightened people got no strong identity to anchor themselves to. They're not strongly connected to the only thing they own, that little circle of purity inside of them that their God put into them when they were born. That's it. Your career will be over at some point in time. Then what? Your status out in the world will be gone at some point in time. It usually happens just by aging. Once you're over 50, people generally think you're another used up, dull, old fogey on the way out. Your friends got their own lives and their own problems. They live alone in their heads just like you. Gossiping and socializing might be fun for some people, but it's the same old thing, and at the end of it you don't feel any better. You didn't do anything tough and worthy in releasing the natural energy in your soul. I got that strong base inside of me. I follow it every day. That's my identity and my stability. I don't need much else or care about much else. The rest of the world is kinda like a circus of lost souls and madness to me. I can't let it pollute or interfere with who I am. I feel sorry for all the unenlightened people out there, but the truth is that enlightenment takes a personal responsibility to honor what you feel is righteous and good within yourself. A lot of people would just rather watch TV than to do something to try to express what's in their free spirits. There are arguments about the nobility of humanity. The truth is that we're motivated by self-interest. It's human nature. If I can get beyond my little, self-centered world to find good, noble things within myself, an enlightened person has no choice but to express them in his own way. It's not enough to follow fads just because they're currently cool, like the eco thing, and cheering for some politician just because the mass media has given him rock star status for the moment. Anything you do that's good, great, or noble has to come from within yourself and last long after the hype has worn down, kinda like John Muir being an eco-environmentalist in the 1920s before the term was even created. He felt something within himself that he followed when it wasn't very popular. I wrote this book because I realized that all the hype out there, from the capitalist ideology, pop culture, entertainment, religion, New Ageism, etc., is either nothing or minor knowledge next to what an individual thinks on his own and can create on his own, provided he doesn't impose his lifestyle onto people who don't want to deal with it and pays his own way through life. I don't live in any box like the many linear, brainwashed people I'm surrounded by. They're following one particular box of life. It might be capitalism, constantly trying to make more money than you need to rise up in the socio-economic status hierarchy. It might be trying to be cool like some pop star, trying to be glamorous like some fashionable model, or following some religion. People who follow politics think they're the serious intellectual bunch who know what's going on, but they're brainwashed by what they're fed by Big Brother, the same as some punk-ass kid wearing a tongue ring is brainwashed by MTV. There are no borders on my mind the way I think. My thoughts are free. I don't censor them. My life is great as long as I do my best to stay pure by releasing the natural energy in my free spirit every single day. It gives me self-honor and my own sense of nobility. That's as enlightened as you can get. When you become enlightened and you come across people trying to impress you or acting like they got the goods on life, you can laugh at them quietly and let them follow their delusions, because all you'll get is contempt if you try to enlighten them. Just keep staying true to yourself every day through what you do. Big Brother is trying to turn everybody into a massive sea of conformity, thinking they're free because they have elections where they get to pick between Tweedledee and Tweedledum, both system insiders. It's not that hard. Mass media has got its hooks into just about everybody. They just have to repeat any message over and over again, and sooner or later, most of the people will support it. Long may you run. Your soul houses your most perfect visions of beauty. We're flawed mortal human beings, but if you don't live for the possibilities within yourself, you got nothing. You have no life. If you're just some overweight consumer watching TV, you're nowhere. You don't fool me. I don't care if they call you the Grand Poobah and you live in the biggest mansion on the hill. Releasing your free spirit is the only way you can get high on life every day. Everything else loses its kick. When I start a tough physical activity and do it, it's never a cakewalk. It's always hard, and I always feel the same after I've done it. Great. There's a song around called Long May You Run, covered by Neil Young and several others, but the question is, how do you keep your spirit strong, youthful, and free for life? There's only one way. Know what your pure free spirit is, away from everything you've ever been brainwashed by. Honor it every day by releasing the natural energy you feel inside of you. All the psychobabble and new age stuff in the world can't touch this as the answer to live the best life you possibly can. I crashed and burned a long time ago when I realized that living as a yuppie wasn't doing it for me, so I went on my bohemian quest to discover I have my own standard of what a great life is, and I'll follow it right up until I die, because that's who I am by nature and nothing more. If you don't live by your true nature, eventually you'll get fat or anorexic for some people, start feeling mundane, get depressed, then take depression pills which don't work because the problem is one of a wounded soul, not the pharmacology of the brain. The truth is that you create your biochemistry through how you live. The only sacred, divine thing you know for sure that you got is that little bit of purity inside of you that your God endowed you with. My life is simple. I know my true identity, who I was born to be, away from capitalist brainwash or anything else out in the world. I honor it by releasing most of my natural energy to that end every day. I feel good, strong, and free most of the time. This is where modern society has screwed itself. We have become so concerned with being successful in a capitalist world and being cool by imitating the characters in pop culture entertainment that very few of us live pure lives true to ourselves. It's the big spiritual aesthetic bankruptcy that almost nobody seems aware of or talks about. The only way to keep feeling good all the time is to constantly release the natural energy in your free spirit in order to stay pure, loose, strong and free. Everything that the world offers you in terms of fun, entertainment, success, status, and material goods all fade away next to an individual knowing he or she must honor who they were born to be by releasing the natural energy they feel in their souls every single day. This is a person's true life force or lifeblood. All you ever really got is that pure essence, soul, or consciousness you were born with. If you constantly keep it strong by working it, you always feel good. If you let it rot away and follow the standards and values from the world, you'll eventually lose a hold of who you really are and start slipping away into a mundane to miserable lifestyle. If there's a God, He gave you the most divine thing you own, your free spirit. If God doesn't exist, then nature gave you an intuitive holistic essence that contains all the wisdom you need to live your life with fun and great joy if you want it. Your consciousness, that free flow of thoughts going through your brain, is the most divine thing you own. It is your naked, pure, true, real self. Do not let it get invaded and polluted by the ideas and ideologies of the outside world.